team too when it came to Asylum, right? But I do agree, you know, whenever it comes to Fire and Ice, they absolutely had the leg up there. They were able to get some great victories on that very map. It's going to be a close series. It really is. For Foundation, for Hive though, makes sense, right? We just witnessed them play it. It was a much closer map against Gods as opposed to Harbor, which was a 5-1 and ended in a 5-2. But Hive, you know, despite those struggles, losing 2 rounds regardless, they still were able to get that victory. So hey, it seems as if I'm seeing a trend already in these 2 series. Maybe Hive is going to favor Foundation quite a bit, especially even if they do qualify for Pro League. I think that could be one of their bread and butter maps. Still very early to say, but it is a possibility. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Look, both teams are very, very familiar when it comes to the playstyles, I think, of each roster, and more importantly, on this very map. So it's going to be a close one. TJ, though, is going to take that advanced position, already being challenged by Exploits up ahead. Bit of a good movement, tries to go in for the knife, gets the whiff, but Exploits is there to clean up the competition. Dyslexic gets the final say on B, and Solurs is last up for Hive.
Solurs is caught in no man's land. Look at that, already rotating over. Fiercely's going to try to put the pressure on that home hill. Solurs is going to try to stop the over-rotation from anybody trying to get that extra angle in. Noey is going to be able to get some shots on, but he's not going to get a down or a kill, and it looks like Fire and Ice are trying to shut this down quick, fast, and in a hurry. A couple of dead back-to-back-to-back, 2 wave wipes, and they are already capping up that triple cap domination. 50 seconds.
Yeah.
So one of the things we got to see right there, Fire and Ice stacking up toward the train tracks. They put the pressure on TJ. They get those first 2 kills, and that gives them the momentum going forward. Let's see if Hive can do the same thing. Let's see if they make an adjustment or if they try to come right back to it like the basics.
Star players there on that tracks fight was definitely Exploits, right? Getting that 2-piece, Dyslexic, the follow-up, get the final, stay on B, and get the capture on tracks to allow the rest of the teammates to go forward, get into gallery, and get that capture. We are switching sides. Boltox are going to be out. So what we've been seeing, especially if you're just joining us, Boltox and Talon's normally going to come out. We'll see then the retro come into play, and after that, usually a long shot, drop shot. We've only seen a long shot at this point in time, long shot and drop shot. So curious to see when we'll see a torque bow, I doubt, on this very map. But regardless, though, let's see if TJ doesn't whip the knife this time, right? He's going to actually stay back. He's not wanting to be as aggressive as before. We see this from time to time, especially if one side loses dramatically. They'll take their time and kind of fill out what F&I is going to be throwing their way. So Hive, already mid-game adjustments. How well is it going for them? Let's find out.
I like that. The flash comes out. INZEM has to roll back and try to protect himself. But once again, Hive gets a little greedy down on the tracks. They put INZEM into a bad spot. That leads to a 4-man wipe. Noey's already back off of respawn, trying to get in there and save something, but he's shut down. Triple cap domination is going to tick through. Nobody's going to get there. That's going to be maybe a minute, 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Not even a minute 30. Holy crap, no, holy 47. I felt like I was watching TJ try to shoot a Boltox for at least a minute of my life.
It does seem like it goes forever. INZEM, the only one with a kill. That is rough. Now, granted, respawns no longer really a factor, other than, of course, you don't want 3 or 4 members to go down at a time. But regardless, though, you continually respawn back in. That's why we're seeing a lot of deaths. I think 1 member on Hive at this point has 3 for sure. I think might have even seen a number 4. But regardless, though, Hive, you got to wake up. We got to figure out something. Retro's down. We got the talent for Hive. We have a retro for F&I. And I've got to favor the retro. So Dyslexic, he's going to have that advantage.
Here we go, TJ, trying to get the angle there on Dyslexic, but Dyslexic has played this train tracks fight, I mean, absolutely perfect. He's been forcing INZEM into bad positions. He's been making him make decisions maybe later on than he'd like to. A lot of shots onto him, but again, Dyslexic just backs right on up. He's got Lancer, or he's got Retro Lancer, so he's got a lot of extra firepower in the gut. Hits 1 shot there on INZEM's trying to take that angle, trying to hit him in the shoulder, not gonna be able to get anything yet. Here comes the up A's. They're gonna try to go for the back A now. They rotate 2 people back down into the fight of Beast. Now you got a 3v3 breaking out of the train tracks. Finally, a down comes out. It's in favor of Hive. They've got a 3v1 on Dyslexic, and all he's got is the Retro. You better make sure you get a down and a kill on him before he gets anybody else. Thank goodness gracious, because giving up a kill down there in a 3v1 would have been bad news.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? It wouldn't have been uncharacteristic of Dyslexic. Let's not forget Split 1. He would pull off plays like that pretty much on the regular. Granted, he did slow down towards the end of the split, specifically after that update, right, when things kind of changed a little bit. Dyslexic wasn't the same, but it's nice to see him in these, you know, these 2 rounds now in round number 3, kind of looking like the old Dyslexic that we kind of got accustomed to seeing, right, quite frankly, during the earlier portions, mid portions, and even towards the later portions of split number 1. Regardless, Hive has put themselves in a great position. Got about a 50-60 point lead. It doesn't look like they're going to be giving that up anytime soon. FNI is trying to figure out an angle, and the play seems to be here onto Streets as they're going to try and push back TJ.
I want to see what TJ does up at the entrance. He's got that right-hand advantage up here, so he's going to be able to lance her out. He's going to be able to hold anybody off that tries to push up onto him. 2-to-1 hill advantage in favor of Hive. Down to 30 seconds. They're going to have to flash out, maybe move in, go for some decaps and a retake here on the B hill pretty safely and securely. Flashes out, returned by Noey, and you see TJ trying to push against Fiercely. Fiercely backs all the way up to that left-hand angle. 2 little fakey slides in. TJ finally takes the L trigger out, and it baits Noey into a 2v1 and gets Noey killed top street. That's going to open the street wide up. That entrance fight is going to be big time now. INZEM has to get a down or a kill here. He gets 2.
Nice.
Here comes Exploits going for that decap. 2 shots in and 2 shots down. Good job. That's going to be a defensive stand and a hold, along with the retake over there at the C hill. They don't really need it, but the extra hill is just going to make things go that much quicker. It looks like we're going to have ourselves 2-to-1 going into the 4th round. That got sticky quick.
100%, man. But, you know, INZEM popped off, didn't he? He pulled off really well. You know, it was funny. I was kind of taking a look at the overall minimap and how it was developing, and I was kind of seeing, like, how are they playing this new 4v4 style? And it's interesting because I'm constantly seeing the same 2 players stick together and go for pushes, right? And I think that's going to be something we're going to see a lot more often. 2 players will stick together, kind of be the duo, if you will. For the side of FNI, it's very plain to see that it's Dyslexic and Exploits. I mean, they are playing so very well together. And then whenever it, of course, goes over towards Hive, it's INZEM and really TJ, right? They kind of just stick together, and it makes sense, too, given the fact that first series versus Godsman, they were the ones popping off on Harbor. They were the ones who were up there in the stat line in the overall KDA. So I'm very curious to see if these duos are going to continue to stay put. Already seeing on FNI, Exploits, Dyslexic, they're together. They're going to be challenging players 2 and 5. That's going to be TJ and INZEM. On the opposite end, of course, you've got the other 2 from each roster. Much better fight for Hive, though, on Trax. I dare to say this is the first time they've won that Trax fight.
They won it last round, but it was by the skin of their teeth. This time, they press up through the smoke. They get that little extra angle. TJ hit a Boltok headshot from the Trax up to entrance. Oh, my God. Wow. Like, I'm losing it over here. My man had a 6-shooter looking like Wild Bill Hickok, looking like Billy the Kid, looking like Wyatt Earp. My man said, let me get it high and noon out here, baby. I'm going to take some skulls.
Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne. TJ is insane. 5 rounds still in the Boltok, and well, you never know when he's going to hit a headshot. He's going to back off, knowing FNI is going to try and push the back on the tracks, and that is going to be, of course, Exploits and Fiercely. So Fiercely joining into the mix now to duo it up with Exploits. That's a beautiful shot. TJ downs Fiercely. That's now going to isolate player number 7 by the name of Exploits by himself, who better keep his head down. 6 shooters there. 2 shots are connected. He's one into him.
Yeah, did one
He's
pellet.
going to be there for the cleanup, and like you said, man, it was just 1 pellet. Great stuff for Hive. They're really starting to come into their own. They're adjusting well, and FNI struggling to figure out what they need to do against them.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Taylor. Dick Cheney hit more of his hunting buddy's face with that misfire that TJ just hit right there. I mean, he hit him with 1 pellet from about 250 feet. My man barely snipped him, and he said, "I'm still getting that down. Don't worry, it's going in the stat book, baby." Good Lord.
Oh my goodness, the references are insane. Hey, look at this lead from Hive. You know, FNI is going to have to do something dramatic and desperate in order to take this round. At this point in time, they've got to get on all 3 hills. They know this, and, well, it didn't go well for Dyslexic. I don't blame him, though. Dyslexic was doing exactly what he needed to do. He needed to get desperate. He needed to push forward, and with respawns no longer being a factor, he could afford to do so. But this round is pretty much over, especially with Exploits kind of being the last factor there to get the break on the B. Hive regains it. Double Trains moves in, and that's going to be GG. Looks like we're going into the second half, all tied up 2-2.
Yeah, that's going to be a great another round from Hive, and I can't say it enough. Those are those adjustments. Now Fire and Ice has to answer. They've got to figure out what it was that Hive has started to do that has really put them in the lead and in control. And I can go ahead and tell you, one of the things they've started to do is say, hey, TJ, you want to get about 8 downs real quick for us? And he said, yeah, buddy, let me start using that bolt tog a little bit more. And he said, oh, I got a headshot. That ain't a down. That's going in the kill column. Oh, there's a down over there. Let me get that one, too.
Woo, I like it, man. This is the closest series, or I should say the closest map we've had as of yet. Shock's on one end. I like that. So for the boys on F&I, they are going to have that Bolt Talk. They're going to have the INZEM. On the opposite end, though,
Good to be
this side of Hive, they'll have the Bolt Talk and the Shock. Shock, I think, could be much more beneficial for shutting down or at least getting the first touch on the E. We'll see how it plays out. Right now, they're neck and neck in terms of the overall scoreline because both of the home units are captured, so no one's really going to have that 1-point lead. Shock is out, exploits on all 4s, and Hive slowly moving forward. And again, that Shock comes into play, and Hive is able to get the neutral relatively with ease.
Hive's going to be set up here. Turn comes out onto TJ, so that's going to open things up for Fire and Ice. If they want to push in, they have a 4 versus 3. They should be able to clean up some more of these kills. Noey's down, but you see the Lancer Fire trying to get an extra down or 2 here. Solurs is going to hit a lot of shots, but it's not going to be enough to convert any kills. And you see 3 members of Hive, or excuse me, you see 3 members of Fire and Ice stacked up top in the entrance, getting that cap there on E. INZEM's trying to be a sneaky beaver going through entrance. He's trying to get this extra lane here. INZEM's got the Bolt Talk in hand. He's going to be full red, though. He's going to have to back off. This next push is going to be a little disgusting because you're going to have to fly in with no real utility and no real help and try to get some of these kills. And Toady catches himself 1.
No worries for Toady. He pushes in confidently, gets that kill. TJ now goes into the cut, trying to get anything he can. As Dyslexic falls, though, Toady now is going to be isolated, but no worries as Fiercely pushes right through, dances all over INZEM, and finally picks him up to put him out of his misery. And Fire and Ice will regain control. They look solid. Player 3, though, is going to be Noey. Looks as if he might challenge on the tracks. I was just about to say, no one is on tracks position. All 4 members from either team was putting all their eggs in one basket, and that was for that fight onto E. But at this point in time, it seems as if there's going to be some attention down low. A good defensive reaction from F&I, but a lot of utility out. Hive off to the races. They're looking to lock it. No, TJ, oh, he actually got the kill. I thought he was going to do a little bit of a misinput, but it works out for the best.
Hey, look, sometimes a little hop and a drop and a stop will help you get a kill, and TJ was able to come away with one. The planted flash goes off in TJ's face, and he says, let me just ride over here and try to get a decap in the home hill of Fire and Ice. Because they didn't know that they were going to have the win condition, but they know now. But Fiercely said, I've got a straight hallway and an assault rifle, and I'm going to try to put about 100 bullets into you. He gets it down, but no kills. But if both of these members of Hive are stuck in no man's land, finally the kills come through. 2v3 on the map. Solurs has to come away with a kill right here to try to slow this progression up. All he's doing is playing defensively. He's trying to make sure they can't just ride into the hill and get a quick decap. They do it anyway, and there goes the 2-to-1 hill advantage back in favor of Fire and Ice. So it looks like we're going to see ourselves a 3-2 round count.
That's going to be it. Fire and Ice will take this round. That fight for E was just kind of it. You mentioned Hive kind of putting themselves in no man's land, but it was a great attempt, and that was a good instant from Exploit, who hasn't slowed down since the beginning. 3-2, F&I regains control. I got a bit worried after losing rounds 3 and 4. I'm not going to lie. Hive was looking solid, but hey, it's a new half, a new me, and it seems as if right now F&I will be leading the charge. Let's see where the weapons go from here, Colin.
Bolt Talk, they're going to hover over. What exactly are you going to do? There we go. Retro Lancer over to Bolt Talk. TJ, I'm not sure if you're going to upgrade to INZEM from that. Now you're going to go to Retro. I was going to say, one of the things that I was liking was TJ was able to use that Bolt Talk so good, so I wasn't sure if they were ever going to switch off of it or if they might upgrade it to anything. I don't know how much I love the Shock placement, but we're going to have to see how it goes later in these rounds. They've only got 2 more to lose before they come away with an 0-1 deficit. Smokes out. Nobody picked up the Shock off of Rip either. There it goes. It's finally down. I was going to say, I thought they might throw it at their stairs trying to stop him from getting up top. Hive has somebody in the entrance. That's Noey, but the Retro Lancer Dyslexic just shredded TJ. I mean, took him out back like a paper shredder and treated him like the printer from The Office, man. They stomped him out.
Dyslexic pushing through the fire and flame. Solurs now tough position. He will drop, and now F&I they've got a decision to make. Do they want to go for the OE, lock this in? It seems as if they're going to play around with it as player 7 looking to challenge onto TJ. It looks like off the spawn is going to be INZEM now into 1v1 against Fiercely. Actually, not a 1v1 as the rest of the cavalry is going to be there. Fiercely will get that final kill. And I think FNI is now going into defensive mode, something they should be doing at this point in time. If I'm Fiercely, I need to get over to my team. I'm counting numbers. Hive has 3. They're pushing up onto streets. But as TJ falls, FNI might be okay here.
Smokes are out. They know TJ's there because he's coughing in the smoke, but they don't really have a good way to push into this, does Hive. You see him mounting all 4 up here. Solurs might be able to watch the back. Nobody's going to be able to sneak over to that side of the map, and they actually had to rotate INZEM down to take a 1v1. So now INZEM might be able to rotate across the map, but instead he's going to bring himself back into this E-fight. He's going to actually go through the mid-cut here. Here he comes. He's going to try to catch somebody off guard. Fierce is going to have shots put onto him. INZEM needs a really good shot to try to put him down. They've got him a little red, but not much. TJ rotates back into the entrance as well. 2-to-1 hill advantage over to Hive now. They're going to have to sit down on this and try to get this point lead in their favor to put the pressure on Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice is already mounted back up, and they have player 9 down there, Toady. He's going to be able to take that angle up to the entrance as everybody moves into that doorway. So I love the positioning Fire and Ice has. They just have to execute now. Maybe a smoke, maybe a flash out, try to get a stun, and then push up into their next retake.
You know, without that additional 5th player, we're seeing less and less flanks, right? It's kind of harder to do. We see a lot of people, you know, kind of go underground and maybe try and push over, but it doesn't seem as effective as before. More than likely, they end up just isolating themselves. Regardless, though, Fiercely does back up, goes in, gets a knock, but Noey's down. Solurs is there for the pressure. Dyslexic not affected by the shock at all. Still trying to dance around. Goes for the pickup. I don't know about that one. I think he should just stay put. Instance there. Still a lot of chaos, and FNI actually might get out of here, but Exploits can't make it happen. He gets Lancer down low. Solurs will clutch up and take him down as Hive regains control. They've got the point lead and the win condition, and FNI's got a lone shot over towards F, and they really just don't have it in them. Hive should be able to take this and tie it up 3-3.
They're going to come away with it in just a few more seconds. Like you said, 3-3. Hive did a fantastic job of playing defense late in that round. One of the things that you spoke to, you don't see but so many flanks anymore. And when people go for it, the 2 times that Hive or Fire and Ice overextended, Hive ended up winning the 1v1s, which allowed them to play further defense. You saw INZEM win one in the mid round there, player number 5 coming down to his home hill and winning it off, winning that 1v1 down there at that incendiary, or down there at the incendiary now. And then later in the round, it was TJ in the middle pavilion area ends up winning a 1v1 and shuts really down the retake of Fire and Ice, because 4 versus 3 is never really going to go in your way unless somebody makes a catastrophic mistake.
Jocks, Ensigns on the map, looking a bit more familiar, right, than that we're used to seeing, especially coming from Split 1 in that 5v5. So I think both teams now are going to be a little bit more comfortable. The retro, though, isn't going to have any effect because it's not on the map. So now it's all about those Lancers, but those retros, I mean, they were hitting really hard. I'm curious to see if it's going to be beneficial or FNI at this point to go ahead and get that shock themselves. But we'll see, as now you can tell everything is really slowed down. The reason why is because both teams know, hey, we don't have that extra utility. At this point in time, Hive would have already thrown the shock out and got onto the neutral and locked it in place. Now they know, hey, because the opposite team has a shock, we can't really do that. Meanwhile, though, FNI, they're going to be the first ones to try and go up there, bait out that shock. So now they have the shock in their favor. Ooh, now an instant too. So at this point, FNI should be able to give it a good go onto E.
FNI loses a player due to TJ hitting a perfect incendiary. Exploits is going to come back in 1 second, but he's still coming off a spawn, but that's going to open things up for Solurs to get inside of the entrance. Noey try to set up. The incendiary answers right back with a kill on a Noey, and now this is where Fire and Ice can push back up. Fire and Ice is going to be able to take this advantage going forward because they have the 4 versus 3. Solar gets the cap right there, and they can push up. Back end comes out, doesn't get the down yet on Solurs. Second one does, though. There's the down on him. TJ's going to answer back. Good trade by the side of Hive. One more shot on the Toady. Can't get this down. Old teammates, by the way. It's Noey and TJ. But the flank of Fire and Ice is there just in the nick of time to shut it down.
Yeah, TJ is about to end Toady's life. Doesn't happen. I know he's going to go ahead and back off. He's a little bit worried that maybe Fiercely is going to press her forward. He's done it before, but it seems as if he's going to go ahead and stay put, close out this minor deficit, and take the point lead for the first time here in round number 7. Still a lot of round to be played. Solar's going to be underneath. Toady there for the angle. Kind of call him out, if you will, so the flank doesn't happen. TJ gets pressured. I'm telling you, man, Fiercely does not care. That's like the third or fourth time I've seen him make that slide forward. And now Noey isolated out. Fiercely's going to go and back off. I like that. No reason to chase a kill.
None whatsoever. They've got a point lead here. It's going to get that much harder for Hive to come back. They're going to have to just fly, try to probably put themselves in a bad situation by trying to get into a fight early. Flashes out. Noey tries to do a little wall cancel there, come into that next fight. A lot of shots on the Fiercely. TJ doesn't die to that incendiary. He does go down, though. Noey's there for the decap, I believe. They lose TJ on the back end. First shot is perfect. Noey backs off still. The shock is there to stop him from getting the cap. Solurs is on the flank now. Solurs trying to make something happen, but he goes down, gets taken out. E-Hill's not going to be capped up, and I believe it's too little too late. INZEM is going to have to go huge at the F-Hill and win a 2v1. Noey's going to have to stop that hill from getting recapped, and I just don't believe it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, especially with INZEM dying right there. 4-3. We're going to see ourselves a round number 8 to try to go to a round 9 for Hive, or Fire and Ice can win a back-to-back and take a 1-0 map advantage.
Yeah, that flank from Solurs, I mean, if he picks it off, makes it happen, like that would have been probably the round for Hive. I don't know. They would have been in a lot better position, but that's a lot to ask for anybody. You know, I don't care how good you are. Going in on that flank 1v2, it's just a tough fight to take. In the end, though, FNI still holds on. This is, after all, their map pick. We knew coming into this map that they were going to be favored given how they played on Asylum whenever it came to split 1. Seems as if it's a bit more competitive, but the same result leading the charge. The stable's out. We knew it was going to be there. And of course, it has to be answered back. Get the shock out of the way. Better your chances to getting to a round 9. That'd be our first round 9 of the night. Our first round 9 is split 2. Just to kind of say that as it literally is just underway. Regardless, though, let's see what happens here. Hive, they got a long mountain to climb. Let's see if they can do so.
I think what they have to do, double locks out. What they have to do is just be a little bit more aggressive. When they were aggressive on the train tracks, they were able to win those fights, and that's exactly what they did. They put 3 shotguns into the area. Dyslexic pulls all the way back. Noey's there. There's the incendiary out. He's going to get the kill on Noey, and there's the second shot in, gets the kill. They pulled up at the entrance and put themselves in a position to die rather than continuing to get those pushes and those kills to come through. You maybe push up, you maybe make him throw a little bit of a panic incendiary rather than an easy one on the hill, and now you're fighting back against the tide. A couple of downs come through on Exploits, but they're not going to be able to get that kill. Just a bunch of damage. One more down, and I think they can get one of them to be out. The up A doesn't come through for Hive either. They're going to get shut down. Fire and Ice with a brilliant retake already. They're going to come away with this initial, I believe.
I think they might commit for this push. They might just go for it, especially, TJ's going to fall. Great win from Dyslexic. Noey last up, and Fire and Ice here, exactly what I thought they were going to do. They're pushing up. Might as well. You have 3 down, and that's the thing about 4v4. You get 3 down, even though you have unlimited respawns, man. You already know the enemy team's going to be all up in your grill. But hey, maybe they get out of it. Look at Noey popping off, picks up 2. And that's going to be a great position now for Hive to turn the tides. And not a moment too soon. Look, they didn't really lose a lot. Fire and Ice committed pretty much everything there. And Hive, they're down about 30 or 40 points, but they're going to have map positioning once again, and they're going to have the objective unless Fire and Ice can push them back. Tony is looking to do just that, and he might do it. Look at this. Shooting fish in a barrel. His rest of his teammates coming up, and that's already 3 down again. And FNI business as usual, just like they were before. They're already going for the overextension for the domination.
Flash out by INZEM, trying to stop this wave, and now he's got 3 in front of him. Pistol, Lancer, every weapon possible being pulled out on INZEM and putting him down. They're going to get the decap here. They've got to not just fight off of this hill push. They've got to come away with every single one of these kills. They have to be able to push back. You can see player 3, Noey's going to get caught out and taken down, but he's going to stop this push. Look at Fiercely. He's going to be able to stack up and wait for the next push from Fire and Ice, or excuse me, from Hive. And Fire and Ice is going to be able to continue to play defense. It's not going to be that big of a deal for them. They've already crossed past that 200-point threshold, and this looks like it's going to be all wrapped up at this point.
This is the fight. Hive needs to win it, and if they don't, they are going to lose this round. Tony, big elimination onto TJ. Now forces themselves in a 1v2, drops 1, Solurs falls. It's the huge 1v3, and Tony will make it happen, and that all but locks it up for FNI to take Asylum 5-3 and lead in this series. The beatdown is there. Colin, take it over.
Kicking him in the kidney, peeing blood. That's not healthy. Kilo judgment fared. Oh, God.
Oh my lord, FNI. A beatdown comes through. Exploits played out of his mind. Dyslexic played so well too. Let's not forget Fiercely getting those touches on Streets. 20 and 9. My
12
lord,
and
they fired on
23
all
for
cylinders.
Tody.
And I was pointing that out too earlier, given the fact that those downs, as you mentioned, man, never discredit, ladies and gentlemen, the retro. Never discredit the Lancer in general. Getting that chip damage makes a difference, and Colin, you've been preaching that since the beginning.
I will never get off of that horse. Like, that horse is gonna die underneath me in the saddle. I'm gonna put the electrodes to it and try to bring it back to life, because if there's one thing I've always tried to just absolutely preach, like, if there's a soapbox that I could die on, a hill with a flat, I mean, I can get all the analogies I want in the world right now when it comes to talking about pulling out your Lancer and helping your teammates. If that doesn't convince you what Tody was just able to do for his team, especially late in rounds where that extra damage allowed them to win easy gunfight after easy gunfight, I think you might need to get your head checked, because you're probably missing some white brain matter up there. I'm just saying.
Smooth brain is like what we like to call it, man. I'm not going to lie. F&I looked really solid there, and that makes me excited because, you know, I looked at this roster. I saw that they were coming through in the semifinals. Obviously, they made it into grand finals with Remedy's forfeit, and I knew it was just, honestly, Remedy was going to have their hands full regardless. It was just going to be exciting to watch them either which way. But you know what? It started off with a bang, did it not? I mean, F&I off that start with exploits, getting that two-piece in round one with Dyslexic to follow up. What was it, like 50-something seconds, and then the next round right after that was 40-something seconds. Hive then, you know, kind of came through, was able to win those 2 rounds, but then it was just kind of back and forth until F&I finally was able to close it up. You know, one thing that I appreciated about F&I's fight, specifically on this, I can't believe TJ got out of that alive. Hive should have capitalized in that moment, or excuse me, F&I should have capitalized and took him down. But back to my point, I'm just excited. F&I, when they were able to get numbers, they immediately pushed. They didn't waste any time. Sometimes it bit them in the butt, but for the majority of the time, Colin, they were able to capitalize. And even if they didn't get the domination, they found it within them to back up and just play defense. Exactly what you need to do. Is textbook. They played so very well.
Sometimes overthinking is your worst enemy. I mean, ask anybody that's been in a dicey relationship. You overthink for a couple of seconds and you put yourself in the worst possible position. Fire and Ice did the exact opposite. They said, let's simplify things. Let's get our Lancer angles. Let's get extra lane coverage. Let's make sure we stay in these fights and get these downs before our opponents can get into our face. And my God, Tody, I could watch that highlight all day. So somebody put that on ESPN. Somebody call my man Stephen A. Have him arguing with his baby self on Twitter later about how good Tody is, okay? Because that's a fantastic highlight. But nonetheless, Fire and Ice, they simplify things out, and that's something that you can also do in 4v4 because of the fact that you've got those extra, you don't have to worry about that extra security blanket, that extra person rotating into a fight. Simplify things, break them down, make them as easy to understand for your teammates as possible. Let's cover our sight lines, let's always have help, and let's make sure nobody gets into our face without being a little bit damaged.
We got Foundation coming up next. Hive was able to secure victory over Gods just a little bit earlier with 5-2. Obviously, a much different opponent than F&I. Asylum, though, has been F&I's map for quite some time. Hive hasn't been bad on it, but for them to get that victory, it does make sense. After all, they did pick it. So now going into Foundation, it's going to be really up in the air. We haven't watched these two rosters play against each other on Foundation, right? We haven't seen them play Foundation in general whenever it comes to competitive Gears 5, specifically, even in a 4v4 format. So it's going to be a pretty telling tale. I'm curious to see, is Hive really that good? Will this be one of their bread and butter maps? After all, they are in fact, undefeated, I guess you could say, whenever it does come to it tonight. But regardless, though, F&I looking so solid. What skill set, what kind of lessons from F&I did we learn that can be applied to Foundation that Hive might struggle with?
The angles that Hive was able to use in their first matchup of the night that we got to see against Gods, Fire and Ice is going to know those angles, and they're going to use them right back against Hive. So Hive is going to have to use the aggression. The rounds that Hive won, they kind of played old school Hive. They said, let's throw the smokes, let's throw a flash after the smoke, get the stun out, get into somebody's face. The reason they lost that last initial was not because they really lost the gunfight. They stopped, they pulled up, they put it in park. All they had to do was push forward toward the stairwell because they had a 3v2 and both players on the 2 side had Nasher out. Nobody was going to be able to Lancer him down and possibly get downs on the way to the fight. They were going to have to L trigger and hope that they didn't get up bait or maybe even reaction. They were just going to get absolutely obliterated. But Hive, they pumped the brakes. They stayed up top and went for the hill to try to get that initial point lead. One of these times, that's not going to work for you. If you're Hive, get that first kill and keep it moving. Keep it grooving. Put that sucker in 6th gear.
And that's something that they did very well on Foundation versus Gods. They were able to put it in 6th gear and capitalize on this very map, specifically on Foundation. Couple of times where it was a bit shaky. Was it Exploits who got that beautiful headshot on Streets? Was it Exploits?
No, from you talking about TJ all the way up to entrance?
Oh, it was TJ. So now I'm thinking Bull Talk, man. You got TJ, you got INZEM who can hit their shots whenever it comes to the Bull Talk. We saw that a little bit early whenever it came to Gods or their matchup versus Gods. Remember, INZEM had the Bull Talk, hit 2 beautiful shots, and he got the cleanup just easy as can be.
That was TJ too.
Oh, was that TJ? Excuse me. So then TJ's firing on all cylinders.
INZEM was the 1 out of 6. INZEM was the 1 out of 6.
So INZEM was the 1 out of, okay. I remember that, the high school GPA. Okay, so never mind. INZEM, I'll throw that out the door then. Yeah. INZEM cannot connect his shots with the Bull Talk, even though he did okay, I think the round prior, but then the 1v, you really can't make up for that.
Hey, look, it's fine. Look, TJ's probably sitting over there like, yo, Taylor, dog, why can't I get no shine? You trying to get my headshot to Exploits? You trying to get my 3-shot over to INZEM? You doing the man dirty right now.
I'm trying not to. Hey, no, I've highlighted him and praised him enough tonight, brother, because he's been playing out of his mind. Okay, so if I take the Bull Talk away, no worries at all. I've still gave him enough praise to last him the entire split too. Okay,
all
at this point in time, I'm sure we'll get a little bit more. I don't know, man. For Hive though, they're gonna have to answer back. This is their time to tie up the series. I would love to watch Vaskar played 4v4 specifically between these two rosters. It was kind of always a tiebreaker map consistently throughout split 1 for various teams, right? So we'll see if it's going to be much the same here tonight. There's only 3 weeks of this again, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first week, so getting the victory here gets you that much closer and above the competition to be able to secure your Pro League spot, something everybody wants. And let's not forget, Pro League is going to be a little bit interesting this year, or excuse me, this split, given the fact that there is, in fact, a match bonus. So if you do win, you get $120 going to you. If you have 2 matches that night, you win both of them, you get $240 across the board. So a little bit more incentive to play, your heart out, right? Money goes a long way whenever it does come to the gear scene. So regardless, though, being that Pro League team, there's a good chance to earn a little bit of extra money, if you will. And for Hive and F&I, it could be good. Now, speaking of INZEM, 1-6, well, he's now, 1-6 whenever it comes to joining the map. He's torching time. I don't know.
I'm trying to the only thing he's hitting right now is the stall button, because he's probably trying to help his team figure out what the hell happened on map number 1. Because we're waiting on him to possibly get this thing rolling, get that action going for all of you at home. But Taylor, I want to point something out to all of you at home. I know you know. I know you're gonna remember because you're a historian. I know you take your notes. I know you got them in that compendium. Everybody at home, curious why this is week 1 of the qualifier. Why are Fire and Ice and Hive going 100 miles an hour? Because our reigning defending champions, they won every Pro League qualifier week. They didn't wait until the final week of Pro League. Vanquish literally won from week 1 to week end.
Yes, sir.
That's why you go hard.
And not only one, Colin, they went undefeated. They didn't drop a single map in the Pro League qualifiers, and they didn't even play in the last week of the Pro League qualifiers because no one could touch them. They were leading by 300 points. They were just unstoppable. I did get word, though, by the way, both of these two teams, so F&I and Hive, were, in fact, undefeated. So they won all their series, best of 3 series 2-0 up until this point. Obviously, for Fire and Ice, they still have the dream alive to be undefeated and kind of match that of VQ earlier. But for Hive, that dream is dead. But the dream to win grand finals is still very much so there. They just have to win Foundation and then push themselves into Vaskar. Man, the VQ was just kind of unstoppable. I'm trying to think. Was the competition as hard for VQ as it is now for the Pro League qualifiers at this point? Right? Because we didn't have Fire and Ice there. We didn't have Hive.
They had Rebel. They had a full force Rebel team down there who finished, what, top 6? They finished better than Hive?
In the Pro League qualifiers?
No, in the major. Like,
Oh no, I'm thinking the last Pro League qualifiers when VQ.
yeah, but I'm saying like the competition was stiff because they had Rebel who finished higher than like Hive did last split in the major, who finished higher than a Fire and Ice did.
And
so I'm
not
looking
to
at it
forget,
like,
too,
yeah, it's
well, not to forget Carnage as well.
I mean,
Carnage was
yeah,
down
they
there.
had a damn slaughterhouse down there, man. It didn't even break a sweat, boy. It didn't even break a sweat. But you know who's breaking a sweat? Me, because I can't wait to get into Foundation. You can already see everybody stacked up, trying to get them Lancer angles out. And I just want to give a quick shout out. Dyslexic playing that brand new Sid Redburn character coming over from Gears Tactics. Oh, baby, looks so pretty on my screen.
You have beat Gears Tactics 3, 5, 6, 11
times.
Okay, excuse me. 7 times over. You're a madman when it comes to the Gears, baby. Off to a good start, though. I'm seeing a lot of blue for F&I, but will they be able to get on these hills? Player 2 wants to. He's chomping at the bit. That's Dyslexic, but he knows he has to deal with player number 9. It's going to be Noey for Exploits, though. Seems as if the Lancer is mightier than the sword. Go ahead, some Lancers down. INZEM. Noey wins the fight down low onto Dyslexic, but a lot of moving pieces. Hive still trying to regain control, but everywhere you look, F&I is there, but a nice shot onto Exploits, and Noey will capitalize.
Yeah, Noey's going to be able to get that kill, and that's going to settle up this cave here, and that's actually going to give Hive the 2-0 hill advantage because A, hasn't been capped up yet by Fire and Ice. They finally come off a respawn, and they get it capped up. Toadie's going to have this Lancer angle. He's going to keep that player kind of pinned into that corner and force somebody to rotate out. But it's going to be on the shoulders of Fire and Ice to make this next push. And one of the things that they're going to have to do is probably throw a smoke and go through cave. They're going to have to probably rotate somebody down low, try to get that extra man into the B fight, because you can see they've got top table control. Toadie's going to be able to hold that down and possibly shoot anybody that try to come back into this. Here comes Dyslexic. He's going to try to up A into that first fight. Gets a couple of pellets to connect, but not enough to get the down. Finally gets some help from Toadie, and now, oh my God, never mind. Dyslexic shutting him down. Sid Redburn, to tell you, he said, I've done this once or twice before.
Man, Dyslexic out of his mind, playing so very well. He needs to, right? Fire and Ice is down about 50 or so points. Hive looks to push it back onto E, but not a lot they can do. They're going to go ahead and concede Bravo, maybe find a different angle of attack. I say that, but they are slowly pushing in fiercely. Big fight against INZEM. INZEM will drop. He's finished off, and Solurs is going to be isolated. 1v2, Toadie easily cleans him up. Where does F&I go from here? Well, for player 4, he's heading over towards Charlie. They've got numbers. They know where TJ is at. And they're going to go ahead and isolate him, take him down, and go in for the domination. For player 9 and player 8, hey, Hive is heading straight over to B. Will they be able to get a touch, though?
They're not going to be able to get anywhere just quick enough. Noey slides in. Oh, God, for the missed roll, but he's going to go down immediately. Double Lancer out. Still no retake at the home hill. Solurs trying to do all he can and everything he can. Triple cap domination being threatened. This one might be over. TJ's going to try to slide in, but it's not going to be in time.
Hey, so good stuff all around. Big battles taking place, and for the majority of the time, Hive did have that lead before F&I pushed them back. It was that fight on, it was the fight of Pistons that really did them in. As soon as INZEM ended up falling down, Solurs ended up being isolated out. It was off to the races, and they were able to isolate TJ, who was over there by statue, kind of trying to hold his own. But at that point in time, there was just really not a lot Hive could do. They kind of went into desperation mode, sending those 2 players down to get the touch on Piston. As you said, the misroll was there. The player ended up dropping, and that's kind of where the life of Hive ended up leaving. So 1-0 lead for the boys of F&I as Hive looks to answer back. It was a close round 1, though. Hive had the lead for the majority of the time before F&I retook it. So there's a lot of faith I still have in Hive here to keep this map competitive.
You see already Hive, they get their home hill. They push, I believe, top table with TJ. So a couple of 1v1s, top and bottom of the map, and 2v2 right there in the middle. Nobody's able to move up. Nobody's got a real good Lancer angle just yet. INZEM actually rotating around. Want to see what they do in this next. He's gone up top, which will give him a little bit more of an angle across, but Beersley's keeping Noey in check. Noey with the Boltok in hand, trying to get that second shot to land. A little bit roll out from Beersley. Gonna get caught slipping. Noey will get the kill on him. That's gonna open up some things down at the B hill. Dyslexic, though, is gonna try to push into this home hill. Goes to the back A. Won't be able to catch the first one. Now INZEM, 1v1 here, but the help over the top comes back and helps INZEM get that kill. That's gonna be TJ rotating back. Exploits, easy 10 shots, 11 shots with that Lancer. Gets that down on a Noey and gets that kill. TJ, little up A there, will come through. Back A on a Toadie, trying to save his life, but it's not going to be enough. He'll finally go by the wayside.
Right, so Hive, they've got a little bit of a lead so far. They're going to go and lock in the neutral. Fire and Ice really doesn't have a leg to stand on, so they're going to have to give it up and recuperate the troops, find out where they want to pressure in for this next fight. It seems as if it is going to be on B. Both H's are going to be occupied as Fiercely is going to take an advanced position, looking at Solurs and INZEM. Really not a lot they can do. Dyslexic is going to go ahead and slide up a little bit. Solurs might be pressured by Dyslexic very shortly, especially if Fiercely can maybe hit a couple more shots with the Lancer, but flashes out Dyslexic going forward. He throws out his flash as well. Solurs has dropped INZEM, now is going to be isolated. That is a solid little two-piece there. Go ahead and let them bleed out and then capture B for himself. Good retake, but still down about 60 points.
This is where they were last time. They were down about 50. Fire and Ice was able to come back to it with a couple of good kills. TJ's going to get angled out here down at the bottom statue. They have to press up on him a little bit wide. TJ's buying time, pushes up against Fiercely. He has to hit one more shot, but he gets shut down. Here comes the retake by Hive, though. INZEM gets that first up A and will get the kill. He'll be full red, but there's not much he can do else except try to take cover. He's going to go down. They have the pinch out. Fire and Ice, I believe, will come back in this round, but they're going to have to hold on to this for quite some time. It's going to be a 50 full second hold.
My only concern, too, is they kind of spread themselves a little bit thin. Knocking down INZEM, though, to all fours is hugely beneficial, and that brings it to a 2v2 now. So Hive would have that extra man over there, but they're not going to have that at this point. Overextension into play, 5 and 4 pushing in. That's gonna, or excuse me, 5 and 3. It's going to be Exploits and Fiercely, and they will lock it in. So now Hive is going to be forced to pressure it onto B, but unfortunately, they're going straight into the Lancer Fire, into the Blender, and TJ will end up just a hair away from getting that touch. And like you said, they were in the same position in the last round, and they won in much the same fashion in a domination. So it seems as if F&I kind of has a little bit more magic in that mid-round, something a little bit more special, if you will, in the retake.
Well, it's coming down to the extra rotation. Both rounds that they were able to get that next fight in, they were able to find that open lane. They were able to find that open area where they could get somebody either to the side, to the 90 degree, and X out somebody with the cross, or possibly get them completely on a flank. That's twice now that Hive is allowed to somebody to get kind of loose, get around the side of them, and able to Lancer somebody down or help somebody else win a fight. Hive has to step that up. They have to tighten the communication up a little bit, I believe, and try to just settle in here against Fire and Ice, because twice now they've had 2-to-1 hill advantage. They've had a point lead, but with letting somebody go, that's just a communication breakdown.
F&I has the retro. Hive is going to have the Boltok, but of course both teams are going to be fighting for the Torque Bow, which first time we've seen a Torque Bow. Last time it was a lone shot whenever we were watching Hive play against God just a little bit earlier. Exploits, though, will take that INZEM. He's going to be able to try and work his way up towards the Torque, but unfortunately he's going to be isolated out, taken down. Big battle taking place. A lot of blue on the kill feed, though, as one by one Hive continues to fall to the wayside. That's Solurs, who is also gone. INZEM off the respawn, and it is looking like this is going to go ahead and just call him out. Torque Bow in the hands of Toady, and Fire and Ice had his decision. It looks like they're just going to go ahead and take down B, set up defensively, and honestly, they're in a position to do so. Nothing wrong with that.
Honestly, Toadie's a very...
Nice shot.
I was about to say, oh, we got a double off of it, baby! Oh, that active Torque Bow splash damage tastes so good. Now he's going to get called out, almost gets snuck up on, almost tries to hit it. He tries to get that extra splash damage on the ground.
No way.
No way he lives this. Fiercely with the Lancer angle over the top. My goodness gracious, good God almighty. I was going to say Toadie's a dangerous man with a Torque Bow. And he said, I don't need you to tell him, Kyle. I don't need you to tell him. I'll show him. I'll show him what I got. All right? I'll show him.
And at that point, he knew they already won it. Toady was aiming at his own teammates with the Torque, man. He was looking to connect on anybody. We'll get to see this again. I thought it was one for sure, obviously, but he got two?
Show me
you play it twice on him?
Ooh,
You don't play it twice on him?
No how.
You don't do it a third time?
Shit. Do it a third time on him.
No, he won't.
Pull it back up.
We got
do it a third time.
We got to see the
weapon.
Kyle, we got to see the weapon placements, man. We got to tell a story here.
Boltok and talent. There's your story. Show it again. Roll it. Yes. Let's go,
we got to
baby.
see the breakouts.
Let's go.
Oh,
boom, baby.
Lord.
God, that's too nice. That's too nice.
And then he stayed
We didn't even
alive?
miss nothing. We didn't even miss nothing,
goodness.
Taylor.
I can't believe he stayed alive, too, right after that. Insanity. 3-0 lead for F&I last round of the first half. And Fire and Ice could do no wrong. Exploits will win that mid-fight again. He's been doing that consistently, man. I don't care who he goes against. No one's really able to challenge him. Already 2 down as Noey will be the next victim just behind that of Solurs. Torquebo, though, still in no one's hands. Or excuse me, Exploits will have it. So FNI gets away with their cake, and they're able to eat it too. Even though he drops, he'll get picked back up. He's going to run away for dear life. Player 8 did go for the overextension, no call-in, and he's looking to make good on C.
Man, that's the old body block play. You know your teammate's going for one of those power weapons. You saw right there at the end, his teammate ran up behind him and just stood there and said, "I'm taking bullets for you, Mr. President. Just stay alive," because you got to protect the president. Sometimes you got to get in that fight, pick up that power weapon. You got to take some shots for somebody else. And it was a beautiful job. They did it so perfectly to get that Torquebo away in a fight. And now they're set up to play some defense here. Splash damage will come out. A little bit of damage on a Noey. Shots over the cover, though. Fiercely into the fight. First shot will come through. There's the trade. Exploits now in a 1v1 against Solurs. Snub out will get some damage and will stop him from getting the retake, but the decap will come through.
The way FNI with about a 40-point lead. Exploits connects again. Good job onto him. INZEM up ahead. Beautiful shot. Brings INZEM down weak. Just needs to hit him with another pellet to take him down. Teammate's going to be their misroll. Unfortunately, he will drop. Noey now up ahead. You got to watch out. Exploits is connecting. That's going to be some splash damage. And he's going in for the cleanup. Noey can't get anywhere. He's just pinned up behind the H. I feel bad for the guy. Domination's coming into play. Solurs needs to get a touch. Dance is there, and 4-0 as FNI is looking to make this a very quick grand finals.
I mean, they 1 round away from being our first week's champion, and they are slowing down. Exploits 10-13 on the bottom side. After we look, I don't want to be greedy and keep asking for stuff, but after we see these weapon plays, can I see that scoreboard for just a second? I want to see if anybody on Hive has over 5 eliminations, because I think I saw a bunch of 4s and 3s. I'm not going to lie to you.
You're telling me no one on Hive has more than 5? There's no way. I don't care if it's a 4. There's no way.
Pull it up.
Oh my gosh.
I ain't blind, but you know I got a leg up on Stevie Wonder.
I tell you what though, TJ's not with the crew though. He's sitting down there not in double digits with the deaths though. He's at 9.
All right, there we go. He's trying to show out. He's trying to show out, baby.
He's got the stat line to back him up. This is bad. Hive played so well versus Gods. Now we're seeing just a much different opponent of FNI, and quickly just showing the skill disparity between the two. But either way, Hive. Potential comeback. It has to happen here and now. Bit of a different fight in mid, and you can really see that FNI kind of backed up. Bit of a mid-round adjustment, or I should say a second-half adjustment. Normally, Exploits would already be down there fighting and taking down member after member of Hive, but he backed up. He didn't want it. Dyslexic will fall, and Hive will take at least the objective so far. Much better start.
And that's the mid-game adjustment. They've tried to find something that they might be able to take advantage of on the map. They're able to come away with it, and now they've got the Torquebo. They've got 2-to-1 hill advantage, and they've got a couple of players for Fire and Ice trapped down in the basement. TJ, torque in hand, and he ain't hitting any like my boy Toady was earlier. I mean, he's right. There's one. Let's go, baby. Hit another one now. Catch me one more. You got 3 more bolts, Robin Hood. Let me see what you got.
Robin Hood, TJ. Let's see what he can do here. Obviously, very talented player in his own right. He's been playing so well tonight, obviously struggling here on Foundation versus FNI, but it's not too late to turn things around as of yet. That hammer burst, though, we know can be very deadly. See how that one's going to have an impact in just a little bit. Regardless, though, everybody kind of taking their time. For Hive, they don't need to push forward. They're happy with their positioning, and Toady knows it's going to be a difficult push with that torque inside TJ's hands.
Backside of the statue, TJ, he's revving, so now he's going to have to get rid of that bolt one way or the other. If Exploits has to be pushed back into that cover, but he wasn't at times, so now Solurs and TJ have to just outright push him. Lancer angle in the favor of Exploits. He's going to get one down. He doesn't get the kill, though. They get the quick revive off. Toady now, hammer burst in hand. He's going to push up, try to push his advantage. First shot won't connect him so much. He's going to go down. There's the cleanup. Hive trying to stay alive, but Dyslexic in the area gets the first. Solar gets the trade, but TJ gets the trade, and TJ gets the second. Shuts them down. Hive finally answers back. They're well within their rights to make this a 4-1. They've got a mountain to climb.
Woo! Look at that little two-piece. Granted, I've already had that round in their hands, but TJ just wanted to put on a show and maybe show a little bit that, hey, we got some momentum too. Second half, clean slate. We may be down 4-0, but we're not down and out just yet. Much, much better round coming out for the boys of Hive. We'll see if that intensity kind of carries through. Man, if Dyslexic doesn't hit that misroll, highly unfortunate. If he just kind of works that angle, I think it'd have been a lot better. I don't know what happened in that situation, but regardless, though, it happens. And that two-piece, they'll take it. Let's see if Hive can continue this momentum coming forward. What is going to be placed down here? Honestly, they can throw out a disable if they wanted to, but they're going to go for that INZEM. So INZEM's onto the side of F&I, and the Hammerburst still into the hands for the boys on Hive.
Let's get those asses in gear. We got work
Trying to take a look here. Hive last time rotated a third member over to the statue. Now it looks like they're only going to take a 2v2. They're not going to throw another wrench. They're going to go base setup here. TJ's going to try to get this win. He's going to get the down. A little bit of help from the top street, though. Exploits goes down. That's 2 quick kills for Hive. They're going to be able to come away, I believe, with the power weapons and the hills. It's another good round and another good initial. They went base, and it comes away helping them out because they get those first 2 kills.
F&I has been known to throw games from time to time. Hopefully this isn't going to be one of those moments. Still, a lot of rounds to be played out here. Hive does have the objective. Plus, they've got a little bit of added utility with TJ with that torque again, and he's been connecting very well. Dyslexic might be the next victim to TJ's torque. We'll find out very shortly, I'm sure. Exploits is also going to be there to kind of help out. At this point in time, though, you know, Hive has done very well with mid-game adjustments, and at this point, it seems as if it's a mid-half adjustment. Dyslexic Fearless, though, pressuring TJ with the torque. Not a lot he can really do from this point. I think it's just going to be a bit quiet. Let's see what TJ can do here. Dyslexic dancing around. He does get the decap.
TJ snub in hands, going to try to get shots onto Dyslexic. Dyslexic's going to have to rotate down to the bottom of the map, and I believe TJ got rotated on now. He's going to go, Solurs is going to go down. Excuse me, it was Solurs that got flanked. Now TJ is stuck between a rock and a hard place if they rotate somebody around, but there comes the extra flank from Hive. They get the down there onto Fiercely. Beautiful couple of fights come through, and they're able to win these back to back to back. And Hive, they're looking very strong here in the second half, with the home-to-home stretch might go in favor of Fire and Ice, and that might give them the 2-to-1 hill advantage. They need to take back the point lead and try to put the pressure back on Hive, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, Hive can't lose another round. They lose this round, it's all over for the week. They got to go back to the drawing board, come back next qualifier.
Yeah, I mean, and this fight could be it, right? I mean, Hive at this point in time needs to win this engagement. That Torco is going to help. Toady, he's going to have some splash damage on him. Exploits might be blindsided. TJ hits the shot, connects, and Exploits will fall. Granted, though, Hive loses 2 of their members, and more importantly, we have F&I boys on all hills. So Hive needs to be very, very careful here. But F&I's heating up, and again, going in for the domination. Player 7, you got to get a touch. No, he's not going to be able to. And like you said, Hive couldn't lose one more round. Well, they just lost it, and 5-1 victory goes to the way of F&I. That's a 2-0 victory in this best-of-3 series, and for week number 1 of the Pro League qualifier here in split number 2, F&I are going to be your champions.
I got a bone to pick real quick. Dyslexic, you can't have Sid Redburn do the friggin' UIR salute, man. Come on now. He's a member of the Coalition of Ordered Governments. I know he becomes an outsider at the end of all that because of the fact that he disobeys direct orders, but that's... Look, if you're going to do stuff like that, mess up the lore, you're going to have me on you, all right? Dyslexic, we're going to have a chat. I'm going to tweet at you. You best believe it.
Dyslexic said, I don't care.
He better care. I'm going to give him a heat the whole
split. I don't care. I just won. I just won with my team. Fresh and new, baby. I just won the Pro League qualifier week 1. I don't care. I hit whatever salute I want to hit. Okay, Colin? Put your lore in your back pocket,
Believe
man.
Believe that.
That's what he did.
I'm coming for him now. Now he's on my list. He's on. You know what? Hold up. Like my man Chris Jericho once said, you just made the list. That's it.
Better made the list in a good way. He played out of his mind tonight. I'm not going to lie. All F&I did. Undefeated, looking to do what VQ did in split 1 of the Pro League qualifiers and maybe potentially go undefeated in its entirety. We only have 3 weeks of this, and well, in week number 1, unstoppable. That was just nasty from Toady, and the fact that he stayed alive afterwards was insane. And Toady said, Exploits, you take off where I left off, and he hits that beautiful torque, and then also gets that second onto INZEM. They could literally do no wrong, it seemed. I thought Hive in that second half was going to look well, but at the end of the day, they just kind of fell a bit short. I'm not going to lie. Hive looked great against Gods, but versus F&I was a different story.
F&I did a much better job of showing out their teamwork. One of the things that Gods did not do is they continued to take those solo team fights like I talked about. They kept trying to man up and just outplay Hive in a talent position. Fire and Ice was not going to do that. Fire and Ice rotated people in, they rotated people out, they got those extra Lancer angles. They're not going to give you those easy fights. And one of the things that Fire and Ice did very, very well all night long to me was the fact that they every time they got a man advantage, they pressed that man advantage. They didn't let them sit back. They said, look, we're not going to get crazy and go for these triple cap dominations in the first 30 seconds. When they were able to, by getting a 3-4 man wipe, they went for them. But when it was 1, maybe 2 kills, they pressed a little further up. It's like they took a few more inches. They moved from the 50 to the 40. They moved from the 40 to the 30. They got within field goal range type deal. So that's the way that you're supposed to win these 4v4 gunfights. You're supposed to take whatever advantage you can and try to angle out your opponents all the way back to their spawn.
Well, especially with the respawns no longer really a factor, right? The fact that they can just continually respawn, you get punished a lot more if you go for that push, because now you're looking at a wall of 4 members guaranteed coming your way, and you could quickly be counter-wiped and then lose the control in its entirety. Hive, that's something I think they're going to have to work on for sure. F&I, though, played that masterfully. Let's take one final look at our bracket, see how it all unfolded. Obviously, F&I will take the cake, undefeated throughout the entirety of its tournament. I would have loved to have watched Remedy play. I like that roster. Red 9, Relics, Pushies, and Hefe, but we're going to have to wait a little bit more until we get a chance to see them, maybe coming into week 2 next week. But for Hive, you know, they played very well. Look, getting in grand finals, 2nd place, not too bad at all. That still puts them in the running to be a pro league team after all, so they're not doing too bad. For Gods, Remedy, Treyway, Hayabusa, One for All, and Old Man, I'm sure we will get a chance in the future to watch those rosters played out. And